So we're working through some builds. We're working through some builds. All right. So this build is running low on stamina. And what else? And I am not in the least bit impressed with dodge on these builds at all. Although, maybe? No. No, I don't think it was 9-inch nails for Engineer. I think this is M&M. Okay. I mean, the rest of these are not cuttable, right? I actually really like bags and belts. And oh, it's adrenaline. Fuck adrenaline. We don't need adrenaline in that build. It's not that adrenaline isn't amazing in this build. It's absolutely fucking incredible in this build. But the problem is we don't have the stamina to support adrenaline in this build. So. And I'm actually wondering about dodge for bow spec here too. Like maybe make them a bit more flexible. I have dodge in this spec because I needed something to keep them a little bit safe. And I think we just settled on dodge being better than anticipate if you weren't ever going to level range defense. And you wanted to maybe every once in a great while dodge an orc or chosen hit. I mean, we could still cut dodge here, probably. Oh yeah, the cultist buff is so fun. All right, so that, I think that gets updated here. All right. Hates dogs? No, hates dodge. Okay. All right. So we'll call that fixed. I don't even know if that we have that. Let's go take a look at the game now. I'm pretty sure we don't even have that being messed with. So if we check our guys here, how do I see their perks? There must be a way to do that. See hair color, beard color, export equipment, lifetime statistics, main stats, backgrounds. Youth Fountain, Oblivion Potion. I don't want to give them anything. I just want to see it. Click to loop through talent levels. Don't know what that means. I can only Oblivion Potion them. How do I see their shit though? Can't see it. All right. So we'll take a look at this. So we did build this, and we built this without adrenaline. Oh, this guy doesn't count because this guy is just a failure of a fucking human being, sadly. But the other guy does count. The other guy... What the fuck did we take over recover? Wait, how do we find any... Wait, what? What? We have a perk point sitting there. Okay. Okay. We don't need to respect this guy, chat. Because... And get this, we've been running around for a level and a half with the point that we were going to respec to fix it. Clever. Clever. Okay. Build one fixed. Only expert advice here on this channel. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the Necro Hex Killer, our Fencer. Fencer has been really surprisingly good, probably because we got a good fencing sword, but possibly because the build of Fencer is good. This has been a nice solution to Necros. I've been really pleased with this as a Necro solution. You still have to eat a couple rounds of Necro, but it's okay. And it's been reasonable elsewhere. Not great, but reasonable elsewhere. Does pretty good damage versus unarmored targets, but you know, what doesn't do fucking good damage versus unarmored targets, really? So, we took Lone Wolf. Why does it not have this on the build? I definitely had Lone Wolf on this build when I was working through it. With the expectation that Lone Wolf would be helping us kill Necros. Now, the problem is it does do that. It does that by giving us about 13 accuracy, which is good, but it only gives us like 4 fucking melee defense because it is a percent-based modifier that does not stack with dodge. So the thought initially was, hey, dodge brings my defense to like, I don't know, 40. I don't even know. Like we could look, but dodge brings our defense fairly high, and then Lone Wolf modifies that, but it doesn't. It takes your base stat, which is really annoying. So I'm getting less use out of that than I want. I don't care about the range defense. I don't really care about the, I think it has initiative. Maybe it doesn't. I gotta look. So let's take a look. Our duelist is here. This gives us melee skill, range skill, melee defense, range defense, and resolve. Does not give initiative. I care a little bit about the resolve. I care a lot about the melee skill. A little bit about the melee skill. A lot about the melee defense. I don't care at all about the range defense or the range skill. So we're wasting most of it. So you guys can't see because, again, I didn't close Chrome. Sorry. This is our guy here. So we're going to pull Lone Wolf off this build. And we're probably taking Berserk. For the extra, not Killing Frenzy, but Berserk for the extra actions upon kills. Mostly so that after I kill the Necro, I can swap to a shield. That's probably our best thing there. So. Gifted for melee defense? I mean, Gifted's okay. Probably. I don't know. I think we want Berserk. I think. I can't really see anything else in this build that seems essential to me. I mean, there's lots of things that would be nice, but yeah, who's in here for nice? Yeah, Gifted's great for early game survivability, but this is not an early game build, and it's not a build that can fit it. The problem is you can't fit it with the perk points. Yeah, I have a hard time deciding on that too, Flame Dance. I think it's a Orc Duelist weapon, right? You just want to, anything that has already the Duelist pen buff, if you can stack another additional armor ignore buff on it, seems like the way to go. So, fencing swords? I don't think so. I don't think it's fencing swords. I mean, I'm not using this fencer. Like, chat seems to think the fencer is like just like an all-around DPS character, and they want me to build it as that is. I think the Fencer is a medium all-around DPS character. It's not particularly good versus Orc Warriors or Chosen. It's not particularly good versus a lot of things, quite honestly. But it's very, very good versus killing Necros. So I think here we drop Lone Wolf, pick up Berserk, that one, and see how it feels. So it actually hasn't been a meme, Fire Rage. It's actually been quite good in this playthrough, which is surprising to me. So let's fix that, which is, all right, back to Chrome. Drop. So this is, and we go Lone Recover plus Berserk, and make that green, and make that green, and make that green. Make that green. And make. Okay. Alright. Berserk's already on the list. Give it another Berserk. Berserk twice. What are we missing here then? Duelist. This is Duelist. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. See, the other thing I would like to do is, and we should do this now, I'm thinking of this, we should also update the progress, because I do try to build the spreadsheets so that people who are playing on their own build them in the order listed, and the goal is to get the build online as soon as possible with the core elements, and then worry about the stuff that finishes the build out later, so you can use it earlier. Is Battle Brothers a calc sheet game? All games are calc sheet games, assuming you mean spreadsheets. Pathfinder, dodge, footwork, nimble. This is probably a sword spec, duelist, relentless, recover, and berserk. Okay. All right, that seems good. I want to get bags and belts earlier on this build. What can we give up for bags and belts? Killing Frenzy? Yeah. Yeah, so this goes... So this is Berserk and Recover. I think it's going here. Okay. All right. Why Pathfinder on a thrower? For walking. You'd skip dodge. Okay. Because have you ever tried to reposition where one half of your team doesn't reposition at the other half of your team and it happens to be your archer? It's like the worst fucking deal ever. And I like to be able to take swamp fights because there's some good shit that you can get in the swamp. Or rather, if I find camps in swamps, I want to be able to take them. You'd take dodge. I find that my archers get picked on a little bit too much if I don't take dodge, so I think I'm there. Okay, let's take a look at the next brother that needs touching up. So let's fix the duelist via the editor. So we're gonna drop Lone Wolf and pick up Berserk. This guy doesn't have gifted, so we can just Oblivion Potion that, and that should be fine. So let's do that. All right, so what was it? Shift X. Okay, and that is Care Bear. All right. Okay. Okay. Cheats Pog. All right. So Pathfinder. Relentless, sword spec, nimble and footwork, and we ended up with duelist, recover, berserk. 2 perks left. What the fuck were they? Dodge. And how did I do what? What's the last one, chat? What am I missing here? Colossus, thank you. Okay. All right. So almost through fixing. We've got 2 other builds to work with, right? So let's get the window back up. All right. So we now need to fix the 2-handed flail. This was an experimental build as well. The duelist was an experimental build. I'm actually really happy with the fencer by and large. The 2-handed flail build's been kind of shit, honestly. And not because the build is not good. It's just the 2-handed flail has been kind of shit. So it's been at its best versus nomads, raiders, and ancient undead. No surprises there. The point of this build was to take and this is with brute too, take a medium statted brother and make him late game material, which has kind of happened for this. I'm not sure anything actually leaves this build though, right? Like, it's just flails are unexceptional. I wouldn't bother with flails, 2-handed flails again until I found a famed one. I just wouldn't build it. So, would it be better with the famed flail? Are you asking if I took a weapon and made that weapon better in some way, if that would be an improvement? The answer is yes. If I improved a thing with no detriment to that, it would in fact be better as a whole. Yep. So maybe we aren't changing anything about this. I'm unconvinced that Headhunter adds anything to this build, really. Is it better for early to mid game? Well, that's the goal, right? Is that if you find an early game brute character with some okay stars, what do you do with it? Well, maybe you can make it into a flail character. Maybe we don't have to touch that one. So, all right, what else? We also have, our arrow catcher. So our arrow catcher, I'm removing a hex potion from the arrow catcher. It's just too, I'm convinced that it's fucking up my targeting. So, us being targeted. So where is it? That's Smookle. So we're gonna remove hex. And so this is the build we settled on. Obviously Colossus, obviously Pathfinder. I'm fine with gifted on this brother. Underdog. So the issue here is Stam, right? We went with Duelist for some reason. I think because I wanted to be able to pull out a shield for oh shit moments when you took too much damage from a bad round. Is it possible it's the pierce resist? It is, but I think the pierce resist is basically essential on this character. It seems kind of cheaty to me that they can calculate in those potions. It defeats the purpose of having them. But, alright, what would we get rid of here if we got rid of something? Berserk? Oh, no, I don't want to get rid of Adrenaline on this character, though. I like Adrenaline on this character. Yeah. I did try the one-handed, two-handed alternating flail. I didn't find it very good. Mostly it's just so fucking clunky, too. The round where you force the hit on the flail, like, is so awkward. Because what do? So, you have 9 AP. If you open with a 4 AP forced headshot, then what? You take your second attack normally, and it procs the headshot again with the normal flail, and then you don't have any setup for your two-handed flail? Or do you open with a single roll of your flail and then wait till next turn? Or like shield? It just was really clunky. Steel Brow instead of Cleaver Mastery, dude. Okay, before you give me advice on my builds, perhaps understand what the build is doing, right? Why would I want Steel Brow on a guy whose entire job it is to be shot by arrows repeatedly every single round? Any guesses? So this character has high HP, low HP regen per turn, and is designed to be attacked multiple times every single round. In other words, the most important thing for this character's survivability is consistent damage, because if you get a spike and you fuck it up, your guy will die. Because his whole thing is to take around the amount of damage he can heal per turn. Am I changing my name? No, I was legally born FilthyRobot. FilthyRobot's a nickname. Christ. So we don't want to remove Steel Brow because we don't want to die by getting shot with an arrow to the head. And like, think about the nomads too. Like, one of the other places you want an arrow catcher is versus all the fucking nomads with Headhunter. We're not removing that. Okay. Maybe this is Berserk and Killing Frenzy and add Recover and like a weapon spec. Maybe. Maybe. Maybe it's not gifted, but I think with the Wild Men, you're always going to want gifted to get that attack roll high enough. Anticipation makes the AI stop targeting you, Bacon, which we don't want. Yeah. I do play D&D, Swag, and I have built a lot of theory-crafted D&D characters. Some of them online. I had a one-shot build that I played for a one-off, like a 4-hour one-off that was just like, it shot, I can't remember, I think it shot 6 arrows in the first round every round, and like it was some absurd amount of damage. I took a boss to, like the final boss of the encounter, I did 75% of his life total in an opening round. So, I don't know, it breaks the game a little bit, Swag, when you min-max D&D. But, speaking of, that's actually a really good segment, which is tomorrow I'm going to be playing sponsored Solasta. I don't remember if you guys remember Solasta, but it was on my list of top 10 games 2 years ago, and they released an expansion pack for that with a new campaign, which has co-op. So I think it's still probably my favorite D&D port to a game for combat. So I'm actually really looking forward to that tomorrow. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, it was one of those. It was a fighter hybrid, so you could, I think it was a Battlemaster fighter hybrid kind of deal, right? Swag, where you get a bazillion action points, and anyway. Yep, Gloomstalker, right? Gloomstalker's so stupid. Anyways, getting distracted here. So, what are we doing with this? We are... Yes, it's that one, Xanadu. We're going to be playing that tomorrow on stream. Is that game on Steam? Yes, it is. Yep. Yeah, I'm actually excited to see where Celeste's been. I haven't touched it in probably like a year and a half. Anyways, I don't want to get too sidetracked on that. We'll do that tomorrow. But I'm actually really excited where that's been to see where that's to touch on that tomorrow. So, all right. So we want to keep Steel Brow because we don't want to fucking die. It's so funny too, the Cleaver spec comment, right? Like, what if would it be like, oh, he's not dagger spec'd, he's not bow spec'd, he's not mace spec'd. You don't actually have to spec your weapons. The reason to spec your weapons is stamina and secondary abilities on things. And cleavers are good. They do take a lot of stamina, but we're only using that because it's a one-handed build. And I'm not even sure it needs to be a one-handed build. This is just, again, defensiveness, right? Which is, I want to be able to pull out a shield in certain fights to make this character flexible enough to be brought on lots of fights, and also protection from the oh shit moments. So what would we cut here on this build, chat? Hey, Hildrick. What would we cut? It's got to be just the damage perks, right? What fight is Adrenaline good in? Adrenaline's another one of these skills that gets better the more members on your team that use it. Adrenaline is good for doing things like end of the turn, moving into a location, Adrenaline, and going first. So things that you can get kills on. It's particularly good versus goblins is one of the major fights it's very good on. It's good versus Orc Young. There's a couple other things like that. Cut Duelist. It could be cutting Duelist. I mean, if we're going to cut Duelist, though, is it better just to switch this to a two-hander? I don't know. Again, we have Duelist because we're working under the assumption that sometimes you need to pull a shield so you don't fucking die. Classic rotation, maybe. I mean, the other thing that this character does, because we want this character arrow catching, and it's got a fuck ton of HP, you always want this nimble, so that the you always want to build this nimble, because you don't want your armor to be the thing that's keeping you alive. You want it to be, in this particular build, the HP regen plus nimble resistance, right? So in other words, because he's a wildman, and we're going wildman deliberately for the minus range defense, so they'll shoot him. If he's a wildman, he's gonna have good stamina. Like, duelist weapons are a more expensive stamina sink, right? So we're trying to synergize with that too. Thank you, I am dog, for the sub. Iffy about underdog on this, that's true. Yeah, I guess he doesn't have to be a frontliner either. He could be a... I mean, he runs melee defense because melee defense is too good to pass, but what about footwork? Well, we're looking to find perk points, not necessarily add perk points to this. Because we need 2 perk points back. Yeah, maybe it's underdog, maybe not. You can't really fight fucking orcs without underdog. It's a problem. So I think you guys are right. So let's pull the let's pull Chrome up here and poke around with that. So I think core for this is Colossus, fucking obviously. Oops. Doesn't catch arrows from orcs. Yeah, sure. Nimble was absolutely there. I think Gifted's pretty much a go-to on this as well. We have... Jesus, what are the other ones? Oh, Steelbrow I think is basic. Oh, Pathfinder and Steelbrow. I think Steelbrow earlier is better too, because I think you want to get this guy online so you can bust camps earlier. Okay. You can drop Pathfinder. No. You cannot drop Pathfinder. Stop cutting Pathfinder off my builds, chat. Just assume that Pathfinder is mandatory on every build. Alright. I've become a convert. I'm a born again Pathfinder, okay? Pry fucking Pathfinder off my cold dead hands. And you better hope I'm actually dead and it's not fucking Twilight if you try to take my Pathfinder. If you find out I'm just unconscious and I wake up and you've taken Pathfinder off my build, it's gonna be no good. It's gonna be no good for anyone. Alright, what else do we need here? Alright, these look like the core build here. So, I mean, it feels like we have a ton of perk points. Kraken Pot's listed twice there. It's important. It's an important thing to bring to my attention right now, for sure. Is Adrenaline key? I don't know if it's key or not. We got to figure out how the rest of this build looks. So, this build, I don't know, I'm going to write it over here just to make some of you freak out. It's got high stam, high HP, low HP recovery, and it wants to be around a lot, right? So it has decent melee attack and decent melee defense, although not great. Okay. Quick hands. What am I doing with quick hands in it? I mean, we could essentially drop the duelist portion of it, which will give us at least 1 perk point back, right? Compared to other damaging builds. It's just, again, one last time. I'll say this one last time, then I'll start ignoring comments related to this. It does feel like one of the ways this build can fail is if it gets overwhelmed with damage by some bad rolls and then it continues to get picked on and dies, which makes me think having a shield in your inventory for this build makes a lot of sense, which means if you want to still do any sort of damage while we're holding your shield, having a one-hander works with that. Okay. Are we trying to rework completely or swap a few perks? These were, we had a number of exploratory builds this run through, right, to try to take advantage of the potions, and this is one of them. So I don't care if this build gets totally reworked. I just think you're almost always going to be either on, again, think about what it's trying to do. The whole point of this is to early game cheat you into goblin cants you couldn't take otherwise, which means you probably don't want it to be a particularly expensive background, and you probably want the build to be fairly doable with whatever gear you have around. I think 9 lives is no good here. Yeah, I agree, Nerf. It's probably some version of Duelist or Killing Frenzy gone. What else is on this right now? Pseudo Third Whipper for more utility is not a bad idea at all, actually. Huh. That's interesting. What if you made this we combine 2 of those rolls, the arrow catcher and the two-handed cleaver specialist, this guy? Doesn't even have to be two-handed cleaver anymore, except that we normally build this to take advantage of it. I like that idea, though. That's an interesting idea, Cyphus. Because he is going to have a fuck ton of stam. It would give us an excuse to spec cleaver, too. Makes him have high utility in lots of fights as opposed to just some fights too. I like that, man. Thought of a mod which makes it so Blacksmith Retinue allows you to swap armor mods on a piece of armor with old mod being destroyed. You can do any modding you want. This is a single player game. What do I think of the idea of a mod that changes things? I think it changes things, and that's fine. Thanks, H4. We'd need recover. I want to build recover on this guy anyways, I think. Gets shot a lot, so he'll stam out quickly. But yeah, but it's the fight that he's in. Yeah, I like it. I like it. But if we do that, it adds perk points, right? Because it goes, you have to then quick hands, and you have to cleaver spec, and then it almost always requires recover. It probably requires berserk, and then what? Maybe just Killing Frenzy or Duelist here. I guess it'd be Duelist. So something like that you guys are thinking? It's an interesting idea. Let's look. How does that do for this build? So did we have Pathfinder on that? Fuck, did I get scammed out of my Pathfinder by chat? No, thank God. All right. So we're giving up. We give up Underdog there. That's the one we're gonna hurt on. And Gifted's on there already. And we give up Adrenaline. So we give up Adrenaline and Underdog with this build. Maybe we drop Berserk. It's just really difficult to justify dropping Berserk if you're taking Recover on the build. No Steel Brow on two-handed Cleaver. I don't know that those words make sense to me in that order. What the fuck do you mean, no Steel Brow on a two-handed Cleaver? How are they related?
You have returned.
Thank you, Tombulus. Welcome back. Yeah, we could. We could make this two-handed cleaver as opposed to one-handed cleaver, and then drop duelist, I guess. I guess whip is something he can use too with the shield out, so maybe it is drop duelist. Drop gifted. Remember, early game bro, Wildman is not going to be good enough on stats. Gifted doesn't get to get dropped. So what? Bring back underdog here? Yeah, it's probably about what it's at, huh? Two-handed cleaver early is rare. It's not. Any of your fights versus early nomads will get you that. If you go and fight the Mad Barbarian, which is one of the things you want to do as soon as you possibly can, you get a guaranteed fame two-handed cleaver. Anytime you have a two-handed cleaver, you can start with the one-handed cleaver because it's basically the same fucking thing, and then come back to it. Honestly, two-handed cleaver is the most common, across all your games, will be the most common famed item you get because it's a guaranteed item drop off a guy, right? Backstabber is worse than it looks. It's like N-1 as opposed to N for its bonuses. Steelbrow isn't very strong on nimble builds. I don't know how many times I have to go over this. Alright. So this just becomes underdog then. What's the other one we lost that we wanted? It was adrenaline. Okay. Yeah, I fucking hate giving up adrenaline, but maybe it is. If this becomes this, that's interesting. So what have we changed out of this? We just picked up Steelbrow at the cost of Killing Frenzy. Otherwise, it's the same build. That is a nice synergy here. It's a very nice synergy. Okay. Alright, so assuming we want this to do two things as soon as humanly possible. One, get the whip going, and two, be able to deal with goblins. What's the build order on that? So take this build order and drop Killing Frenzy for Steelbrow here. What does this really look like? Probably swap these. And like this. Okay. We did lose Killing Frenzy. I don't think we take Duelist with it. I think this is reasonable. Alright. Cleaver Spec seems too early. No, you need Cleaver Spec before you can use Whips. Whips are a force multiplier for taking difficult fights that give you good gear. Like small numbers of Berserker fights, etc. You want to get Cleaver Spec on as soon as humanly possible because otherwise you have the accuracy malus on Whips. So it's just a really big deal. Don't need quick hands before using Whips. That's technically true. So maybe quick hands comes a little bit later here. Although, I don't know. I don't mind that. Early quick hands is good too, though, right? Because you can still be a damage dealer while switching to whips for the late game part of it. Okay, for the late fight of it, rather. Justification for dodge over anticipation. Anticipation gets better with leveling your actual range defense, which I don't do on archers. And then I want some basic survivability in melee if I possibly can. It's basically two bad options, but we need something for defense above and beyond nimble on the brothers, on the duelists, the throwers. I almost wonder about footwork on the throwers. I fucking hate footwork on throwers because 25 stamina is impossible, but you could potentially do it if you, like a chosen end of turn moves in on you or something, and you fucking pop recover followed by like footworking out the turn after. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I like this. I think this is a good idea from chat, which is nice. A nice change. Okay. All right, and this whole thing becomes then yellow, right? Because we're not sure we ever bother using this anymore. Okay. All right, let's fix that in game. Check that out. Okay. That's right. That's right, Cyphus. That was you. All right, so then we go, what was it? Shift X. And that's Schmookle. All right, so I haven't done this here. So if we Oblivion Potion with Gifted, we have to subtract 12 stats, right? Okay. I think I can just do that. Can I just literally write, oh no, what did I just do? Okay, I didn't do anything. What are these numbers? $89 of 57. No, this is starting. I see. So that's his starting roll. That's his current, probably including wounds, and that's the number in there. All right, so we go Oblivion Potion here on Schmookle. Okay. And how do I remove the Hexen stuff? Anyone know? Get back to that in a second. Okay. So let's assign those perks. All right. Quick Hands, Steel Brow, Cleaver Spec, Underdog, okay. Nimble. We didn't take Killing Frenzy. We did take Berserk. Took a Recover. I'm gonna miss Adrenaline so much on this. Colossus, thank you. 2 perks left. Fuck, were they? Pathfinder, thank you. And last is Gifted. We just have to subtract stats. Okay. So we gifted that, and then we take. It's 3. Actually, I wrote 4, 4, 4, but really it's 3, 3, 4. We're gonna take these 3, right? That one, and that one. That was melee attack, melee defense, and resolve. We'll remove those. Okay. And I guess we do that via here. And we go 89. Melee defense is 33, so it goes to 30. And then resolve goes to 50. All right, excellent. All right, how do I get rid of potions on this? Fight a clone of your party. Neat. Calculate your party strength. No idea how to get rid of this. I haven't used this mod enough to know. Could change his beard color, but that would be cheating, and we don't want to do that. You might not be able to. I'm pretty sure you can. I think I've seen it somewhere. But I don't know right now. All right, so I think we have one more. Yeah. All right, so that's those done, that done, that done. Don't know about that one yet. We didn't end up taking recover. What did we end up taking on this guy? We removed this entire build essentially. Our two-handers. All right, the problem is I've been weapon speccing our two-handers, and I probably shouldn't be, honestly. Import, export, baby. And what is the problem with these guys? They can't afford fucking adrenaline. That's the problem with these guys. What are we currently sitting on? Let's look at our current builds. Oops. I mean, we're doing this with the weapon spec, right? That's all we're doing for our two-handers. Wrong two-hander, this is our two-hander. It makes sense on the sword spec for sure because we want to AoE on this. It makes a lot less sense on the hammer, which I almost never want to AoE on, and the mace, which I never want to AoE on. Or never want a secondary mode, pretty much. So on this particular build, where's my mace? The axe build, it's probably this. Why did we axe spec here? Like why? What's the point? It's like baby amounts of stam regen, which I don't think are relevant. And what would we take instead? Is there ever a world in which we slap Indom on so I can stop getting orc stunned? I feel like our problem at the moment is we are not consistent versus orcs. So I'm tempted to throw in another defensive perk over the weapon spec on the specs that don't require AoEs. The Famed Axe is fine, but I don't think I need a weapon spec for it. Why a weapon spec at all? Yeah, it could be Steelbrow. The zero stam builds definitely call for Steelbrow because I think it is survivability. But I'm not even sure. I'm not sure that's active enough, right? And with Killing Frenzy, you do multi-hit. Yeah, I mean, so, okay, so, I mean, I could do it on this. Do you guys want to do it on the spreadsheet or the player? Let's do it on the spreadsheet for this. Well, that's the thing, right? So, think of the structure of an orc fight. The structure of an orc fight is, well, there's two major variants, right? The high number of orc young versus, excuse me, the high number of orc warriors. The orc warrior fight is about sustain. You gotta be able to fucking stay in melee range with the fucking orcs as they pummel the shit out of your line, which is survivability and sustain. The orc young is about killing speed. The faster you kill orc young, the faster you break their morale as a whole. Either way. So here, we've got the one perk there. Basically, that's sitting around. And the zero stam runs Steelbrow Executioner over Killing Frenzy and Weapon Spec. No, it takes Weapon Spec over Killing Frenzy and Berserk, or not Killing Frenzy, Berserk and something else. I don't know what actually right now. Brawny. It doesn't take Brawny because it doesn't need Brawny. So, but our two-hander frontline with heavy armors need one perk point left, and it could be either Weapon Spec, Recover, which is basically the same as, it's the same idea as Weapon Spec. You take a turn off, debate to continue double attacking, which seems so rare to me. Like, I mean, the reason why I dropped Recover off this build was specifically because I never fucking had the stamina. I never had the time to recover. Or one of the defensive perks, right? So I guess these are stam options, the way to put that. And then tank, which is Steelbrow, or it's another tank option. What is it? I'm missing it right now. Yeah, or Indom, that's right. Now, Indom is too stamina intensive to use reliably, but you can use it for the first round, which will prevent the orc stuns. I don't even remember what current Indom does. Like, it got nerfed so hard that I basically took it off all of my builds, including my tank builds, so I don't remember what the fuck it does. Let's go take a look. 50% damage reduction and immunity to being stunned, knockback, or grabbed for one turn. What's the... Is it 25 stam? I mean, I don't understand how this tooltip could be so useless in terms of actually telling you anything about this. What's the stam cost and what's the action point cost on this? Went from 3 to 5, so you can't use it with two-hander anymore. 30 stam? Fucking hell. 25 stam? That's still a lot. seems too much. Yeah, but I guess the question is... Well, that's the thing, Cyphus, is exactly that. So okay. So our approach to orc fights this playthrough has been, one, get the strat potion, which we just finally got. Well, not orc. I don't mean that. Was one, run the orc resist trinket, this one. So our AoE damage dealer with immunity to stun, so we can kill orc young at a fucking great rate, right? That's the goal here. And then the second part was we wanted a second guy immune to stuns. And I tried stacking Izurok potion and orc warrior potion. No, it's not that one, it's these two. And this is supposed to be, what do we decide this was? This is supposed to be like a 66% chance to not be stunned, right? Combined between these two. Either you stack and it's 83, in which case it's 17% chance to be stunned. If they stack additively, if they stack multiplicatively, it's like a 33%, right? To get stunned. But so far, every single fight, we've just been stunned at the beginning of every single fucking round. So I don't know if these potions are not working. Someone in chat suggested the horrible idea that maybe the orc potion overwrites the Izurok potion, or we're just gotten really unlucky, or it's just no good. It's not enough. This just isn't enough stun resist. We're getting too heavily stunned to begin with. So the other solution is either we build Indom or we figure out either a 1 or 2 people or something like that. I mean, and maybe it's by weapon, right? Like maybe the hammer guy, for example, wants Steelbrow because he wants to stand on the edge of the edge of the thing and not die the first time he gets hit in the head, while like axes want, I don't know, weapon spec for more killing power. I'm not sure. Thanks, my name is Tony. Yeah, I can't. You can only use Indom like 1 round. And I remember there being an issue too with Indom, which is it's difficult to predict what round you're going to need it. Like it feels like it's always round 2, but sometimes the Orc Young, like the problem was I think if I remember correctly now, it's been a while.
Fellowship expands.
Thanks, my name is Tony. I think the problem ended up being something like some of the Orc Young will hold their turns for the end of round 2, while some won't, which meant you had to Indom at the end of round 1, and then you were still often getting stunned by the end of round 2, and you couldn't Indom 2 rounds in a row because it just ate your entire stand pool. Isn't it better to spread those potions? Why would it be better to spread those potions? Ideally, the ideal world is all of the Orc Young stun 1 target who's immune to being stunned. Not all of the Orc Young stun 2 targets who are less resistant to being stunned. So I think I remember Indom just being unplayable at this point, right? After the nerfs. Is there an exception to that? Like maybe our arrow catcher really wanted Indom. I don't know. Because if both proc, you cannot ignore it twice. But what are you trying to do? Are you trying to spread out the overall amount of resistance across your team? Or are you trying to get the enemies to target 1 guy and make that guy as resistant to stunning as possible? I think the second one is better. If potions overwrite, it's better to split? No shit, Sherlock. I mean, you're right. If putting 2 potions on the guy doesn't do anything different than 1 potion, we should definitely split the potions up. That's a good point you make. How does that help anything? We have no idea how the potions stack. Second one doesn't work anyways. We don't know. We don't know how to test that either. Like, how do I test that? Like, reliably. Yeah, exactly. We need a 5-head data miner to let us know. Do you need Headhunter for Axe? Nope. Well, you'd have to mirror fight like 1,000 fucking times, is the problem, last memories. But it doesn't tell us anything. Chat, what do you want? Like an N of 3 and then we're going to make like... We're going to make long-term conclusions about how that works? All right. So we just had that final build. I think really what it works out for this final build is it needs to be split up, doesn't it? It's something like your swords want this. And your axes and hammers probably don't want to be spec'd at all. They probably just want to be defensive. Okay. What other options are there to absorb the orc charge ability? You have about 3 options, right? The orcs will multi-stun the same target. So you can change your positioning, which I do anyways, which is you try to put the guys who you want to be stunned or more likely not stunned because you want them immune up front so they eat the charge. You can wait with your turn so that the stun hits you after you've done your actions, but you haven't passed your turn, so that you will resolve the stun on that turn and be unstunned the next turn. You can run Indom, or you can attempt to potion stack. You can go in an adrenaline to prevent stuns. No, that doesn't prevent stuns. You're doing what I'm talking about, which is you try to resolve the stun on the first turn, but the problem is the orcs will split their stuns. They'll split the timing on when they do it. So try to spear wall. I really don't like spear wall versus orcs. We've tried a couple different spear wall builds. We've tried one-handed Spedum builds. We've tried, we had an orc herder build for a while, which is the goal of the orc herder was to get them. The problem is the behavior of the orcs is a bit weird with spear wall. A lot of times they'll shield wall and charge it. If it ever fails, what are your options when you get 95%ed, which happen, or 5%ed all the time? And then sometimes they'll just ignore it entirely, right? Like they'll just go a different way. So I don't know. It's really hard to justify bringing a shit spear to that fight. You can do spear with something else, but spear wall is also very stamina intensive. So if you're not spear specking, like it never really worked for us. We tried a couple of those. Yeah, I already addressed that though, Britnoth, I guess. Already addressed that. Okay. So, I guess we... Okay. You don't close with orcs, they close with you. Alright, so we're just going to split the axe and hammer builds. Alright, so is there any justification for anybody besides the sword having the weapon spec? Like, I don't like hammer secondary ability. Let me just read what it does again to make sure that I'm remembering this properly. 25% less fatigue, destroy armor and demolish armor, inflict 33, that's the one-hander. Shatter gains 5% chance to hit. Yeah, this is garbage, right? Like, all those abilities suck. The problem was this, we don't want knockback. If you knock back orcs, you get charged. Like, we don't want that at all. It's like the exact opposite of what we want. So, really then, it's... I mean, what weapons are there? There's mace, axe, hammer, sword. These are two-handers I'm talking. And that's it. Destroy armor on pole hammer hits like a truck. One-handed hammers have the exact same problem they've always fucking had, right? Which is the destroy armor ability, which is the one-handed hammer or the reach hammer ability. What is it? A quarter of the time, base chance alternates head versus body. So if you're trying to, as a group, fucking focus down on a location, all too often you spend extra stamina on an attack that either misses or hits the wrong body part, and it just hasn't done anything for me. I'm just not excited by that at all. I'd rather just fucking DPS the spot and just go with it. Especially axes, which is DPS both parts, and you just don't have to worry about it. Sacrifice dogs and move into the orcs. Sacrificing dogs gives morale boost to orcs. You don't want confident orcs if you can avoid it. They're very dangerous. Especially when your team cannot get confident itself. Alright, so can't not flail spec. I guess flail is the other one. So is it just sword that specs? And then we don't ever do mace specs. We do Katal builds, which are mace dagger, and then axe hammer just build defensive again. What is charge stun percent going down with shield melee defense? I don't know what that means. Morale from hits is based on damage and HP damage, right? Is your chance to morale hit. So Steel Brow reducing the not making headshots crits will reduce HP damage, which will reduce morale hits, but it's not. Just depends how hard you get hit, right? She's between stun or confident. Well, I mean, we figure out other ways, right? That's what we're talking about right now, is figuring out the other ways. Okay. I mean, maybe what this actually calls for is a dedicated reach user for something else. Like, I feel like maybe what we want is like a fucking sword lance with melee defense. Like an actual polearm user. Maybe you get one for the team just for the big orc fights. I don't know. The problem is you never really want a melee defender, a guy with decent melee defense fucking using a polearm because you want to take advantage of that melee defense. Is Tall Dagger that good? Does pretty damn good damage, yeah. So are we dropping axe spec then on the Berserk brothers? I don't know, man. I really don't. It's pretty clear the hammer doesn't want spec. I'm not sure about the axes. If you don't ever want to use the two-handed hammers AoE, swap them out for maces or axes. What two-handed hammer? This one? No. This does really good single target damage to fucking orc warriors. Like, the reason why I don't like the hammers, I don't want to hit orc young with hammers. I'd rather hit them with axes. If I have to hit orc warriors, I'm happy to hit them with hammers. I think it's fine. You know, generally, I like having a mix of weapon usage on the team if possible, because you want to fame stuff eventually. And if we're not speccing, we have that option anyways, right? We can always switch it out to something else we want. All right, so no more changes here, it looks like. Except maybe we should un-axe spec and make this like fucking Steel Brow or something. I don't know. I mean, we don't have to spec all these the same way. This guy's going to be Steel Browed. Why quick hand axe build is better versus you only use two-hand axe without reach axe? I mean, you answered the question you're asking is answered in the question you asked. Why is quick hand good when you can get a reach weapon? Because you get a reach weapon. That means every single turn you can move one tile and attack regardless. So it doesn't matter how far away you are. It doesn't matter, like, as long as there's a target within reach, you can hit them that turn, which is important. It decreases your downtime. It increases your the speed at which you kill. Better to zero ham stammer? Yeah, probably a zero stam hammer is actually fine for this. Yep. If you can get high enough melee defense early enough. It's just this particular game we didn't get any zero stam brothers because our brothers were so shit. We just didn't get anyone with high melee defense, which is who you pretty much want as early game. Zero stam. Zero stam in general is worse than the other ones because it doesn't do as much damage. But yeah. Anyways, maybe you could cut Berserk off the hammer, maybe. Okay. Only take axe spec if... Dude, okay. All right, chat. Thank you for your input, chat. It's been very interesting, by and large. I think we've done the changes we want to do here. I'm going to go return some coffee, and then we're going to get moving again. Actually play the game a little bit. What do you guys think? Oh, did we remove drunk? What does chat think about removing drunk right now? I don't want to keep micromanaging my fucking inventory for moving fames out of my inventory so the drunk doesn't throw them away. Should we just remove it for now? Do it. Okay.
A magnanimous dispensation.
Making excellent content is hard. Here's a thank you for your clear talent, which I have enjoyed for many an hour.
Thank you, Benaya93, for the $100 donation. That's a huge donation. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you for the compliment as well. Okay. All right. Drunk gone. All right. Right back.